I am Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Susie.
And we're paranormal specialists who live in the most haunted city on earth, Savannah, Georgia. Every day is Halloween in our line of work, so join us as we spin true tales of haunts, murders, and disturbing Savannah history. I'm Madison.
I'm Chris.
And welcome to the most haunted city on earth.
Hello and welcome back to season 5 of the most haunted.
5.
Yes.
Season 5.
Ding, ding, ding. Season 5.
Season 5.
Of the most haunted city on earth. My name is Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Susie.
And I'm JT.
Yes. He dropped his last name for this season. He is now only JT.
Yes.
He's kind of like Prince or Madonna.
Yes. You can only refer to him now as JT.
All right.
Known as JT Timmons.
Yes. And so
Arcadia says, yes, she can hear us. Georgia Girl 93 said, love you guys.
oh, yay. Very sweet. Very
we love
sweet.
you too.
Yes, for those of you who are watching or listening to this after the fact, we are live streaming these to the public now, like a live TV show, which is super fun, super cool.
Nice.
That doesn't mean Parajunkies won't get their own private live streams, though.
That is true.
They will be getting their own private live streams, but
They'll
yeah.
be more private. No,
Yes.
wait. That doesn't sound right.
Yes. So we have a lot going on this season, so I'll try to keep the announcement short. But first and foremost, really exciting news. We are going to have some very special guests on the show that I'm sure a lot of you will recognize. We're going to have the Ghost Brothers on the show.
Fantastic.
Woo!
That's exciting.
It's super exciting.
I'm lit.
This will probably be like their third or fourth visit to Savannah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they
Yeah.
love it here.
Yeah,
They're
they've-
from
they've-
Atlanta, so, you know,
I did not realize that.
yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They love it here. They do an event, and we'll do like a more formal description of what the event is later down the line. But they do an event where basically they curate like the best spooky things to do in Savannah and sell tickets, and you can like come hang out with the Ghost Brothers, get to meet them, do the spooky things. It's really fun. So since they're going to be in town, of course, they contacted us to come do our show, but as well as possibly come be on the podcast. So that's super fun.
I'm actually on the Ghost Brothers episode at Moon River Brewery. So if you watch their Moon
Yes.
River Brewery episode, you'll see me.
Yes, I think one of our Parajunkies was watching the show one time and was like, I see a familiar face on my TV screen. So that's super cool. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that. You guys are going to have a lot of fun with them. They're just great people. They've just been absolutely wonderful and so sweet. So I'm excited to have them on the show. Other than that, though, we are kicking off today's episode on a very bizarre note, if you will.
Not our usual fare.
Not our usual fare. We're kicking
Very alien to what we do.
Yes.
Oh, dad jokes.
Oh, God, they're back. Oh, no. But yes, with that, though, we are going to be talking about all of the alien nonsense that has been going on with Congress and the U.S. government in general.
Truly insane, like when it
Yeah.
really comes down to it. And very blasé.
Right?
The reaction to it has been very blasé. And I think, it bespeaks a nation who is just fed up with hearing stuff.
It's true.
It's just like, whatever.
Whatever.
I read Associated Press literally every morning over coffee, and I have not seen anything on AP. Maybe I'm just not looking hard enough.
I have an AP article for us, so don't worry.
Okay.
You missed one.
So I missed one.
Yes.
But that's just it. Even if it were, just a lot of nonsense, it's nonsense that's happening in Congress. So it's
Right.
news. It is news, regardless of whether you believe it or whether it's, a fabrication. It is something that is happening, in the chambers. It's an official thing. And again, there's plenty of people who believe that it's some kind of smoke screens. There's a lot of people who believe that it's just not true. But ultimately, it's shocking to have this kind of confirmation at that level, at this level.
Right. Because prior to that, although we did have that confirmation a few years ago with the NASA the former NASA employee.
The whistleblowers have been pretty consistent. They've just been getting stronger voice. And I think a lot of that has to do with the advent of the internet and with, the ability of people to share these informations. And, there's some amazing podcasts out there by truly earnest people. Check out Ryan Sprague's Into the Skies. Fantastic podcast. But that's the kind of thing that you're like, maybe it's so hard now to control how information comes out or, who's sharing.
Yeah, it's true. And a lot of something that I think we should preface before we get into the episode is a lot of paranormal people are very staunch against
I've never figured this
aliens.
one out. It's true. There are two camps. There are UFOs are real, but ghosts are not, or ghosts are real, but UFOs are not. And I'm like, really? These are the lines that we draw.
Same with the cryptids too.
And cryptids are on their own little island.
Yeah.
Going, but we're real too.
Yes, it's true. But I feel like all of them intermingle in a lot of ways, especially paranormal and extraterrestrial, because up until this point, it really has been just basis off of people's experiences, which is very similar to the paranormal, where most of the majority of our evidence and things like that, it's just based off of what people who have created databases of paranormal activity and odd encounters and things like that. Right. So I'm like, who are we to say that there isn't one or the other, and
or that they're intrinsically linked.
Right.
There was a pretty healthy discussion, debate about and cryptids included, about extra-dimensional constructs and concepts, and that UFOs are in fact dimensional travelers, and and that dimensional traveling can be something that introduces the ability for a spirit to travel to us, through these dimensional things, or why large creatures just seem to disappear or are impossible to find is because they are, in fact, you only spot them as they are in our dimension for a short period of time and they're gone.
Yeah, the interdimensional people are a whole different camp as well, which I don't understand. I'm like, let's all just share our theories. And
because we might learn something by cross-referencing these experiences and these sensations.
Right. So, with that being said, though, let's read some articles about all of the alien craziness that has gone on in the U.S. the past few months.
All right, I'm lit for it.
Yeah, JT has no idea what we're talking about.
Zero.
So this is very exciting. So we're going to start out with an Associated Press article called UFO Congressional Hearing. Whistleblower says U.S. concealing multi-decade UFO program. Which, now this is a topic that specifically has been brought up for a few years now. This really started with that NASA employee basically saying, like, we have had contact with extraterrestrial entities and beings and all that jazz. Also, we have had a whole program to study, yada, yada, yada. You'll hear about it. So, the U.S. is concealing a long-standing program that retrieves and reverses engineers' unidentified flying objects. A former Air Force intelligence officer testified Wednesday to Congress. The Pentagon has denied his claims. Mm-hmm. But that's also the Pentagon, so of course they're going to do that. I mean, it's like, they're not going to just be like, yeah, you're right, we did do that.
You got us.
You got us. You caught us in the lie. Anyways. Retired Major David Grush, highly anticipated testimony before a House Oversight Subcommittee was Congress's last foray into the world of UAPs, the unidentified aerial phenomenon, which is the official term the U.S. government uses instead of UFOs, because they don't want to seem like tin hat sort of people.
Because UAP sounds so much better than UFO.
Right, exactly. But that's another big thing is why this is so exciting to hear about, is because these same people have always been calling people who did believe in aliens and UFOs and things like that absolutely crazy people. Like the tin hat people.
Ghostlighting 101.
Exactly.
Ghostlighting?
I love that. That's such # ghostlighting. That's a perfect term. Make that go viral. we're about to.
Did you create that, Chris?
Yes.
Wow.
Can you tell he does improv?
He's genius.
Anyways. So while the study of mysterious aircraft or objects often evokes talk of aliens and little green men, Democrats and Republicans in recent years have pushed for more research as a national security matter due to concerns that sightings observed by pilots may be tied to U.S. adversaries, excuse me. It's early, y'all. Anyways, Grush said he was asked in 2019 by the head of a government task force on UAPs to identify all high classified programs relating to the task force's mission. At the time, Grush was detailed to the National Reconnaissance Office, the agency
Reconnaissance?
Reconnaissance?
Yeah.
Okay, I've never seen that word in my life. Reconnaissance.
It's an exciting word.
That is an exciting word.
She's not a military person.
I'm not. I'm not a military person. Y'all are both, actually. He's family and military. You were military. So correct me if I'm wrong. Honestly, Chris, you should be reading these. Anyways.
It's all good.
The agency that operates U.S. spy satellites. I was informed in the course of my official duties of a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program to which I was denied access, he said. And he was a general.
Ooh.
So that's a weird flex. Asked whether the U.S. government had information about extraterrestrial life, Grush said the U.S. likely has been aware of non-human activity since the 1930s.
Uh-oh.
The Pentagon has denied Grush's claims of a cover-up. In a statement, Defense Department spokeswoman Sue Gao said investigators have not discovered any verifiable information to substantiate claims that any programs regarding the possession of reverse engineering of extraterrestrial materials have existed in the past or exist currently. The statement did not address UFOs that are not suspected of being extraterrestrial objects. Grush says he became a government whistleblower after his discovery and has faced retaliation for coming forward. He declined to be more specific about the retaliatory tactics, citing an ongoing investigation. It was very brutal and very unfortunate, some of the tactics they have used to hurt me, both professionally and personally, he said. Representative Glenn Grothman, R-Wise, chaired the panel's hearing and joked to a packed audience, "Welcome to the most exciting subcommittee in Congress this week."
You could be at the economics, reform.
It's true. It's true. There was bipartisan interest in Grush's claims and a more sober tone than other recent hearings featuring whistleblowers celebrated by Republicans and criticized by Democrats. Lawmakers in both parties asked Grush about his study of UFOs and the consequences he faced and how they could find out more about the government's UAP programs. I take it that you're arguing that what we need is real transparency and reporting systems so we can get some clarity on what's going on out there, said Representative Jamie Raskin. Some lawmakers criticized the Pentagon for not providing more details in a classified briefing or releasing images that could be shown to the public. In previous hearings, Pentagon officials showed a video taken from an F-18 military plane.
Yep, I remember. Yes, I remember seeing that video.
That was literally the most casual reveal that aliens exist I've ever witnessed in my life. They were like, "Oh, by the way, aliens exist. I know we're in the middle of a pandemic, but here you go." Yeah. And it's like,
as long as you're all sitting going crazy in your house.
Yeah, just add to your existential dread a little bit more, and here you go.
It was that black and white video. And then there's something there, and they're locked onto it, and all of a sudden it goes zoop.
Did you see the one where the ship goes diving into the ocean?
Yes.
That was taken off of
no, I haven't.
It was either off of a battleship or an aircraft carrier. They literally had footage of this thing, shooting straight into the water, and it was just what was that? Everybody on the whoa, did you see that? Yeah.
Well, and that's an interesting point to bring up as well. Of like people for decades now have had videos of these crazy things that look exactly like these videos that the government are posting, and they're like, there's no way that's not a UFO. Like, what was the video we watched a few nights ago, Jay, of somebody in their backyard and you could see the triangles moving in different formations and stuff?
Yes.
It
wasn't like it was a police officer. It was a body cam.
That's what it was. It was the Axon body cam footage.
It was the Axon body cam footage, and the police officer responds to a call where someone's like, there's something in my backyard, like a creature, or an alien in the backyard, and they have footage of it. Like moving in the backyard, literally. And it's like on two legs or something.
Yes.
Oh, and it you could see it under the fence.
Yes.
Yes, you could see it's like foot like move under the fence.
Yes.
It was super creepy.
Well,
so
and
creepy.
With the advent of like the kinds of security cameras everybody has on their houses, the door cameras, all these things, it's like it only makes sense that our awareness is going to become larger and larger, which brings about a new question of. Are they just trying to prep us and prepare us for this onslaught of footage that people are going to be having, or backlogging and saying, okay, there's a lot of people who have been able to capture strange things now, because you got to realize that having a very high quality video camera used to be unattainable to most regular people. They you might have a camcorder, but you don't have your DSLR. Great cameras, but now they're commonplace. Our phones have better cameras on them than most of us had for the majority of our lives.
It's true.
I can see where it's like we're going to have to get ahead of how this information is getting to people.
Well, and it's interesting because all these people were posting their videos and their photos and all these really interesting and compelling pieces of evidence, but nobody believed them until the second the government gets like this foggy video or something, and they're like, well, that's it.
Well, the government says so. It must be true.
Exactly. But I just find that interesting, and I just will never forget how casual that is. And I just wonder, like 100 years from now when we're like, it's like commonplace.
Right, we're fully integrated with aliens. It's remember when we used to pretend you didn't exist?
Right, I think about, when I'm elderly and like the young folks are like, so what was it like when they first told you about aliens? And I'm like, it was a regular Tuesday during 2020 when everything was going to hell in a handbasket. But you know what? They told us there were aliens.
Did you just put tinfoil on your head?
So, hear me out. It's cinefoil. So it's black. Does it have to be silver?
It's a good question.
Does tinfoil have to be
I always
silver?
thought it was the reflective properties of tinfoil.
Yeah.
Not the absorption qualities of tinfoil. So you might be
it's a new theory.
Now. You might be pulling.
I'm an antenna now?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Our views would go up, so I'm about
true.
it.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, if you start thinking thoughts that seem foreign to you, let us know.
So, well, and that's an interesting topic we should bring up as well of like, there have been multiple things in my life that people are like, that was an alien abduction. And I'm just like, you're crazy.
You have the being that came to your window.
Yes.
When you were a child.
So when that went on TikTok, everybody on alien TikTok went wild with that one because they're like, that was this blah, 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 blah.
And it's a very classic. Yeah, I was going to say, a very classic story that most abductees have similar stories. So,
And I have liked to compartmentalize that experience into the back of my brain because that is horrifying to me. But the weirdest thing was that always the part that people just, really honed in on is I have these 2 scars on my ankles that look little incision marks, and I have no idea where they came from. And I got them as a child, and I just woke up one day and they were there. And I'm like, I've never thought much of it until I told people who were into the alien type theory and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, that's classic,"
abduction.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm going to pretend like I didn't tell you that, and
I'm never going to bring it up again.
Before history is written, it's played. Before it's frozen in time, it's fought one shift at a time. Before it's etched in silver, it's carved in ice. What happens next will last forever. The Stanley Cup Final on ABC and ESPN Plus begins Saturday.
Because I don't want to think about that.
For those of you who don't know, Madison and I are married, and so when we cuddle, I put my ear on her stomach, and I hear, and it's most likely
The alien.
something growing inside you.
Do you not understand how digestion works?
Yeah, right? Right.
It's real loud. It's real loud.
That just means she's hungry.
Yeah.
Feed the wife.
Yeah. I require snacks.
Snacks.
Yes. But anyways, back onto the F-18 military plane.
She's pissed off.
So, anyways, the Pentagon officials showed a video taken from an F-18 military plane that showed an image of one balloon-like shape. Pentagon officials in December said that they had received several hundreds of new reports since launching a renewed effort to investigate reports of UFOs. I wonder why. Because it's been around for decades. And,
Right.
you know. But anyways, at that point, we have not seen anything, and we're still very early on. That would lead us to believe that any of the objects that we have seen are of alien origin, said Ronald Moultrie, the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security, an unauthorized system in our airspace we deem as a threat to safety. Wow. Okay, so that's the end of the AP article. So that's a lot to take in. That's a lot to unpack because those are really high-ranking officials, basically.
Right. Oh yeah. Once
dancing
they're
around,
having to make these statements, even if it's a statement of denial or it's a that means it has reached a critical point of the information bearing down on the public.
Right.
And there's so many things. There was a while, and I don't even know if it's still going on. I do not really follow UFO news per se. I'm always interested. I'm not
That's extremely surprising that you don't follow UFO news.
I mean,
I dabble as well.
I was going to say I don't think that I'm out of touch with it, but I also don't follow it very closely. But I do remember that Mexico City, for the longest time, had daily UFO sightings of dozens, if not hundreds, of ships above Mexico City. They had video. Their version of 60 Minutes covered it regularly. I think they made it like a regular check-in.
I remember this.
Because it was this huge deal, and
Nobody
nobody
talked
would do anything. No one would elaborate. No one would go there. No one would send up a scientific thing. And the people were like literally begging for answers. What is this swarm of strange objects in the sky? And it was like in daylight. And there's lots of video footage. If you go online and look up, the Mexico City UFOs phenomenon. And it was one of those things where it's like, well, I guess it's nothing if no one's doing anything about it. I guess maybe it's a prank. Maybe it's some kind of weird.
That's a really elaborate prank.
But it's an elaborate prank, and it got the attention of this entire country going, what's going on? But they couldn't get any answers.
Weird. I mean, look at the entire state of like Nevada and Arizona and like that whole region. I don't know what it is about desert-like areas.
Sure.
But for some reason, it's just like a beaconing light to extraterrestrial type activity and paranormal in general. So that also interconnects us as well.
It also doesn't help that we have lots of programs.
That's true.
That live in that classified universe where it's like because the big push of UFO sightings came after World War II, and there is a lot of discussion of whether or not what we were really looking at was experimental aircraft, because this was a time when aircraft were becoming supersonic, and we were getting these things. And unfortunately, it was also a time when we had a lot of German scientists that were given a deal to come out of their prisoner status
Right.
To work for the United States. And so if you ever look up this is a very interesting side note, is that the German scientists, the aerodynamics that they were coming up with defies our understanding of physics. They were using a different physics than we were. We use I guess a Newtonian physics, and they were using a different set of protocols, allowing them to create ships that changed direction very quickly. And this is all, the story is that there is the physics that we accept as reality isn't the only physics that is available or even calculable. We just doubled down on the math on one end of physics, and so there's another end of physics that suggests we could travel, vast distances very fast. We could do these things. We just reject that physics for whatever reason, probably because it's hard to monetize, or something to that effect. But I do find it interesting because now we're talking about, well, maybe the government just had really amazing and advanced aircraft. Maybe they were doing this incredible program, and those aircraft. So the desert makes sense.
It does make sense.
That's where the government would test these things. I mean, that's where we set off atom bombs. It's where, so testing aircraft that defy what we understand as aerodynamics makes sense. However, there's also the story that we've reverse engineered from spaceships everything. And somebody once brought up, it's like, if you look at how the leaps and bounds of computer science it goes, could it be possible that we are reverse engineering technology so that, because it's insane how quickly computers have become the centerpiece of our communications, the centerpiece of our computing. So there's a lot of questions about where is the advancement of humanity? Does it solely lie on human effort and human gain, which of course makes perfect sense,
right?
Or do we have help? Are we getting help from another intelligence,
right? Which would make sense. And the existence of the other intelligence actually is a good point to bring up next, which is another article with a very casual just announcement of something that I'm like, why is this so nonchalant?
Blase.
Let's talk about an article from NPR.
Oh boy! Wait, real quick before we
Yes.
do, I wanted to say a quick congrats to Parajunkie Lorenzo.
Oh yes, yes,
Oh,
Tell him what happened,
yes.
Ember.
baby Ember.
We welcomed a new Parajunkie Ember to the world, which is really, really cool. Also wanted to welcome everyone to the live stream. Kelly, Alex, Jess, Air Bear, Nikki, and also Chris's wife Megan is watching.
Yay! Hello, Megan.
Cool. And also, just one quick thing, Madison's earrings are super cool, and I wanted to just...
Oh, thank you.
They're like the best earrings ever.
Spoopy cookies.
Spooky cookies.
Yes, you can get them on Etsy.
I just want to eat them. All right, let's continue.
I do too. And also, Debria, I want you to look back in that while Chris is talking. This is just a very hard side tangent. I felt a very distinct hand brush the back of my hair, and I think it's Miss Doll back here.
Don't want to look at it. Not looking.
So
Not looking.
just hard tangent. Debria, go back and look through that footage and see if you see anything, because I felt that and it shook me. But these two dolls are new to the set, obviously. This is Chris's doll that has no eyes.
Here, Chris, move over to the... yeah, there you go.
She didn't want to get
She has no eyes.
She did not want to get hung up on
right, there you go.
on the wall today. But this is my new doll that I just found at the thrift store. And she's horrifying. I immediately sensed that she was haunted, so of course she was mine.
For all the people listening on Spotify and Apple and all that, explain what
She's a
the doll
Raggedy
looks like.
Ann doll.
Raggedy Ann doll.
It's like a homemade Raggedy Ann doll. She's
Yeah,
not
she's
she's not
pretty.
an actual Raggedy Ann doll. She's I'm going to make a avatar of evil Raggedy Ann doll.
And I'm pretty sure she's the one that touched my hair, so that's fun. So yeah.
Excellent.
Anyways, side tangent. Just debris. Look for spooky things that happened while Chris was talking. But yes.
And Debria, it's right behind you.
Oh no.
She has to edit in this
She
room.
has to edit in this room.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that she has to edit right here.
Anyways, so crazy things also happened. So this article's only from July 27th of this year.
Oh wow.
So
okay.
2 weeks ago.
literally 2 weeks ago, U.S. recovered non-human biologics from UFO crash sites, former Intel official says. What?
What a very, very hands-off way to say we got aliens.
Right.
You know,
We found dead aliens.
biologics. It was a non-human biologic from a crash site. No. It's like, well, do you mean like a rock?
Right?
No, it's biological, not a rock. Well,
Like an organ, a limb, like
And
non-human.
who
Is it
said
a
and who
lizard?
said that again? The government?
yes, a former Intel official. So somebody who worked for the government literally said that they found this.
Yeah, they refer
Nice.
to pilots as non-human pilots.
Right.
They were like, yes, these craft are piloted by non-human pilots. I'm like,
What?
that's super casual. That is, I'm
Like-
sorry, go back and say that again, but put a little emphasis on the fact that they're not human. You
Right.
got monkeys flying these things? What's going on?
Literally. Well, and so that's the thing.
If this live stream like cuts off out of nowhere, we
Oh,
know
yeah.
why.
Right.
We know why.
Well, it's
Well,
so
your tinfoil should save us.
right.
It will.
Your cinefoil.
Cinefoil.
The yeah, it's just this article baffled me because I only pulled articles from very reputable sources.
right,
so it's
absolutely.
like I'm like, this is insane. I'm
Right,
like,
it
how
should
are
be
you
mind-blowing. It should be like, hey, everybody,
right?
this is the conversation on the table.
Right. And I'm just like, why are the government is just so casually dancing around these questions of being like,
Well, I guess
yes,
they have that wonderful
they-
phrase, that plausible deniability kind of sensation.
Right.
That's simply not true. I don't know what you're talking about.
they're like, yes, that did happen, but we're not going to call it that. And I'm just like, just call it what it is. It's an alien.
Right,
Yeah.
And I'm like, let's just be mind blown for a second
Right.
and just.
Or are you
No,
referring
they-
to like a pet carrier or something?
Yeah.
Right.
They don't want people like freaking out. That's exactly what it
Nobody's
is.
talking
Like,
about it though. That's the crazy thing.
Well,
Okay.
and that's the interesting thing is their concept of the public finding out and it just causing havoc and mayhem. The public found out and they're like, oh, there's a sale at Aldi's. There's nothing altered in this bombshell revelation of alien life piloting ships or being in crash sites. Most people were like, meh.
Literally.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They're like,
Have you seen the cost of living these days?
take me out of here.
Yeah.
That's
Take me
that's. I feel like that's the general consensus. But
Oh,
anyways,
Alex Machado said that it's Annabelle's sister behind you.
Yeah.
it's cute, cute. Love that. Actually, one of our Parajunkies, Radar, named
Yeah.
her Isabel.
Isabel.
So,
Isabel.
Izzy. All right. Then
Yeah.
it's Isabel. I
Yeah.
like it.
So I was like, cool. Yeah, she the Parajunkies, when I posted that I bought her, they're like, this is the weirdest instance I've ever seen Madison buying
side
a haunted
note.
doll.
Yeah.
Have you seen what happened to Hawaii?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
That devastation.
No, I know.
Very, very.
Hearts out to Hawaii, but
Yeah.
Right.
Seriously.
Yes, that's an absolutely mind blowing thing. JT and I have been following that very closely, just because it's absolutely devastating.
I know.
you
For
were just there. What did
yeah,
you
we were
do?
just there.
I know.
I know, right? No,
I
seriously.
know. We pissed off Pele.
Yeah, that's
Like,
right.
Well, we didn't go to Maui.
We did not go
We
to
didn't go to
Maui,
Maui,
but
but
still.
yeah, we just did a whole series on Hawaii. So we went there and saw everything, and it's just
It's so
sad
sad.
that all that's happening.
It is. It's such a beautiful state. It really is, and it's just really sad that all of that is just getting burned and all.
Yeah.
Of it. Ugh. But yes, other things that make you quiver. 3 military veterans testified in Congress, highly anticipated hearing on UFOs Wednesday. including a former Air Force intelligence officer who claimed the U.S. government has operated a secret multi-decade reverse engineering program. So this is even more people who are coming forward who worked for the government in some capacity, mostly military intelligence, who are saying like, yeah, that happened, you know, anyways.
Okay, so just side note,
Yes.
my wife believes that birds, like there are some birds that aren't real, like pigeons, and so I just wanted to let y'all know that she's really like into this.
Listen,
She's really into
I'm
this.
not okay. Before my reputation is trash, I love the birds aren't real movement. I think it's so funny.
Movement. It's a movement.
It is. It's so funny, and I do joke a lot. I'm like, that's not a real bird. It's not a real bird. It's a government spy. Yada yada yada. But a lot of it is coming from a joking place. So don't go out here thinking that I'm absolutely bat crap crazy. You know, it's like. Anyways,
You know, the Earth is round, right?
I guess I'm not a flat earther. JT's trying to ruin me in this episode.
No, I'm not.
Just putting it out there. No judgment. No judgment. Just
The Earth is round.
the Earth is round.
Pigeons may or may not be real, but
There,
you know, it's like
no. Every time we see a pigeon, every time she's like she doesn't hunt. She doesn't hunt, but I'm telling you right now, she'd kill a pigeon. She.
JT's trying to ruin me. Anyways, so he also said the U.S. has recovered non-human biologics from alleged crash sites. But while the topic of little green men, which they're trying to de-escalate the seriousness of this conversation by being like little green men, and it's like you just said
That's
that
derogatory.
it is. It's derogatory.
They're average height.
They are, and they are not green. They're gray. Well, that's just one type of.
I guess the reptilians might be
aliens.
green. In any case,
Well,
back to the
Well,
story.
if you really want to get into that, then the reptile movement, the people who think reptile people are real, oof, that's a whole different conversation.
It's very
but
strange.
anyways, so did come up. Much of the discussion centered around on improving processes for reporting unidentified aerial phenomenon or UAPs, the military's term for UFOs, as we talked about. An aerial phenomenon does account for sightings in both air and water. So
Okay.
there are also calls to remove the stigma for aviators who report UAP sightings and to ensure oversight of government programs that investigate them. So retired Major David Grush, who went from being part of the Pentagon's, so the David Grush guy that we talked about, he was a major for the Pentagon.
Oh wow.
So, and he's the one who's like the spearhead for this.
Well, and I read recently that they leaked his psychological profile.
Oh my God.
They leaked his medical history, and he suffers from PTSD. He's had suicidal ideations and things of that nature, which are common with veterans and of that nature. But it feels like this way, if he shows up dead, they've leaked this information out, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but that just smacks of, and that's full conspiracy theory. That is not anything
We're becoming a
that I can do.
conspiracy
But
podcast.
I know, right?
but I can honestly say that as a storyteller, as a writer, I look at that and I say that makes perfect sense. You're like, we've got to stop this guy. First, we have to discredit him by saying that he's crazy, and then if by some chance he meets with an accident, you can say, well, look at his psychological profile that was leaked, that was put out to the public, so that everybody's like, oh yeah, of course, we knew that this was coming.
Oh boy.
Well, so that's the thing. In the last article, he literally said what the retaliation that he has received from the government for talking about this has been cruel. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
That-
No, it reads like a spy thriller.
It really does. Oh, that's fascinating. Okay, we will keep an eye on that for you.
But by
in our
saying that out
conspiracy
loud,
segment.
it will have to make them pivot in their,
Right.
If you bring it up in public, they're like, oh, they're on to us, quick.
They're on to us.
We're gonna have to figure out something else to do.
So he became a whistleblower and told the House Oversight Committee's National Security Subcommittee that he had been denied access to some government UFO programs, but that he knows the exact locations of UAPs in the U.S. possession.
Ooh. Area 51, anyone? Area 51.
Right?
Area 51. Hello, hello. Anyone? Anyone? Hello, hello.
Area 51's being real quiet these days. Anyway.
Wait, they're always real quiet.
But they're being extra quiet.
Being extra quiet. You don't see a bunch of zennials charging the gates anymore.
That's true. So in response to public interest and political pressure, federal and military agencies have shared a trove of information about unexplained aircraft encounters, but many sightings have been found to be pedestrian origin, from weather balloons to drones, airborne trash, and birds. On Wednesday, Defense Department spokeswoman Susan Gao issued a statement saying the Pentagon's inquiries had not turned up any verifiable information of substantiated claims and all of that jazz that we talked about in the Associated Press report. Now, Grush has also alleged that the U.S. has retrieved non-human biological matter from the pilots of the crafts.
That's the one that gets me. If the pilots are non-human,
the pilots of the craft, Debria, make that big and bold. It's like they just called them pilots. I'm like, what, a rock is flying the plane.
Very, very smart puppies.
Very smart puppies from outer space. Or it's the killer clowns from outer space. Ooh, wouldn't that be cool? If
that would be great.
Bum, bum, bum.
We just started hearing that.
Yeah, literally one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yes,
seriously, it's excellent. If you haven't seen that,
it's
you need.
Fantastic. It's cult classic. I hope they don't revisit it.
I hope they don't.
Honest,
leave it alone.
I could see them mucking with it and being like,
I agree.
Here we go. It's the return of the killer clowns from outer space. And you're like, no, leave it alone.
I'm going to turn them all to cotton candy if they touch it.
Oh, cotton candy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
So that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge of the UAP program I talked to that are currently still on the program. So literally people still on the program are saying that they found the bodies of the pilots.
Weird.
While he refrained from sharing any further information in the public hearing, Grush offered to disclose details behind closed doors. Because he does want to turn up dead. Anyways.
Well, also, telling the public the locations of top secret installations, not a great idea.
Not a good idea. You're right.
Now, we've learned that the public does have an unhealthy ability to endanger itself.
Right. So Grush said he hasn't personally seen any alien vehicles or alien bodies, and that his opinions are based on the accounts of over 40 witnesses he's interviewed over 4 years in his role with the UAP task force. My testimony is based on information I have been given by individuals with a long-standing track record of legitimacy and service to this country, many of whom also shared compelling evidence in the form of photography, official documentation, and classified oral testimony. Grush said, adding that the trove of evidence has been intentionally kept secret from Congress. Several times during the hearing, Grush deflected lawmakers' questions, saying that he could only elaborate in a SCIF, a sensitive compartmented information facility. Those instances include when he was asked if the government has had any contact with aliens and whether anyone has been murdered to cover up information about extraterrestrial technology. Grush said he couldn't comment.
Ooh.
Which is a pretty bold comment.
Yeah.
And mind you, this is NPR. This is not some
This is the Inquirer.
Yeah.
The Inquirer would have been like, David Grush impregnated alien.
Literally. It's so true.
Alien gave birth to Bat Boy.
It's so true. So the former intelligence officer also told the panel that he and several other colleagues have been the targets of administrative terrorism and that he has at times feared for his life since coming forward. It was very brutal and very unfortunate. Some of the tactics they have used to hurt me both professionally and personally, he said, adding that there is currently an open investigation into the matter.
Oh.
So The UAP sightings are not rare or isolated. The subcommittee has also heard testimony from former Navy fighter pilot Ryan Graves and retired commander David Fravor about their alleged encounters with aircraft of an unexplained origin. Graves recounted an incident with a flying object off the coast of Virginia Beach in 2014 while flying an F-18. He said he came upon an aircraft that looked like a dark gray or black cube inside of a clear sphere.
Whoa.
Whoa. I know, right? That's why I said this article absolutely mind blown, like literally blew my mind. It's absolutely insane. So that he estimated to be 5 to 15 feet in diameter and unlike any aircraft he has ever seen. Grave claimed that the UAP could remain stationary despite hurricane force winds.
Whoa.
Isn't that insane?
Well, I'm sitting
like,
here just trying to come up with like
logic
with a cube inside of a clear sphere. And I was like, a balloon makes sense in a way.
Sure.
You know, I could see it maybe being, but
15 feet in diameter? It's
but
like
also
a cube?
holding up against wind at all of any type.
It has to have like thrusters like on a cruise ship,
right?
Like maybe like all around it to where it can compensate.
Probably using a propulsion that we don't understand, so you know it's not affected by
it's wild.
Air.
So
because it's obviously not using the aerodynamics that we understand to fly because it's not a shape that uses
aerodynamic, like noses and bird-like features and things like that. But anyways, so he told lawmakers that his squadron submitted a safety report at the time, but he received no official acknowledgement of the incident. Sounded like somebody was like, we're not going to talk about that.
We've got a special file for that.
Yep, that's the trash can, the shredder. And so, according to the former pilot, UAP encounters in that region were not rare or isolated. Graves has since founded Americans for Safe Aerospace, a group that supports aviators who have reported UAPs. He stated that the objects are reportedly being seen by military and commercial pilots, are performing maneuvers that are unexplainable due to our current understanding of our technology and our capabilities as a country. He added, if everyone could see the sensor and video data I have witnessed, our national conservation would change.
Wow.
Yeah. I believe that.
And then retired Navy Commander David Fravor offered the panel his own eerie account of a UAP encounter that was captured on a video in 2004. The Pentagon released the video to the public in 2020. And so Fravor described being flabbergasted when he and 3 other service members saw a white tic-tac shaped flying object emerge over the San Diego coast in California. There were no rotors, no rotor wash, or any visible flight control surfaces like wings, he said of the UAP. As he and the other pilots tried to get closer to the mysterious craft, it rapidly accelerated and disappeared right in front of our aircraft, leaving no detectable turbulence.
Whoa.
The technology that we faced was far superior than anything that we had. From a government commander. Fravor said, I'm not a UFO fanatic, but what we saw with 4 sets of eyes, we have nothing close to it. It was incredible technology.
Goodness gracious.
So, with that being said, case closed. Aliens exist. That's it.
All right. I was actually gonna end out this episode with asking you, do y'all think that aliens exist?
I have always been a proponent of aliens.
Absolutely.
Of alien technology, of aliens, of, extra dimensional, extra, terrestrial, and only because of the overwhelming information, eyewitness accounts, photographic evidence, Now, I do not blanketly believe all of it. But I will never just flat out deny, because there's just so much, out there.
Yeah.
That and I have seen 3 times in my life aerial phenomenon that I could not explain. I was not quick to say that's a spaceship or that's a UFO, in regards to like alien life, but I know that there's plenty of things in the sky that we just don't understand and don't know.
Right.
And when we look up and we see something that we can't explain, my knee-jerk reaction is not to dismiss it. My knee-jerk reaction is to catalog it as possible, in the realm of possibility.
Also, a weird buzzing and ringing noise
Yeah,
just occurred
that's
in the room.
strange. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I've never heard that in my life.
Yeah.
Still going.
I know.
I've never heard it in this room ever. but
I think I have enough compression where they don't hear it, and I don't know if the government knows that.
Yeah.
But weird.
Well, anyways, but yeah, well, so like, I'll leave it out with this last theory that I heard that actually will appease the interdimensional lovers and theorists. I heard this fun theory that aliens were just evolved humans.
Oh yeah.
So like the reason why their brains are bigger is because our brains had to evolve to input all the information that we are constantly consuming. And also the reason why they tend to have a hunch is because we are always on our phones or we're hunched onto a computer and things like that. And then we've also evolved because of our environmental changes. Our skin starts to change. The coloration of our skin starts to change to basically be able to absorb all the intense sun radiation that we're constantly absorbing because of the environmental issues.
Right, because of the depletion of our ozone layer.
Exactly. And so people think that these are just humans that are in the future that are crossing through.
Whoa.
So I'll leave you pondering on that.
So does that mean that we're aliens to primates?
It would be the same kind of concept if we went back to
Stone
medieval
Ages.
times.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yes.
So
All
I'll
right.
leave you on that theory, but super compelling information, absolutely fascinating. Please
Yes.
continue following it because I don't know why more people aren't talking about it personally.
For sure, for sure.
Anyways,
All right, so for all of y'all joining us for the live stream, we're about to just hop into the next episode, so stick with us. And we're going to be doing Ghost Mail, which is going to be
guys,
fun.
smile. But
Yeah.
yes, with that though, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. My name is Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Susi. And
And
you're here.
Oh, no, but I never ended out.
Well, I didn't know if you.
I never ended out. I never
got a
ended
camera
out.
You've got a camera now.
And I'm JT Timmons.
And stay spooky, y'all.